So this would be rapid fire round 2.
Yeah.
So Evan has decided that last minute he didn't want to show up. He didn't like us. I'm just kidding. He had a client. So it is going to be Erin and I for this episode of round 2.
Yeah.
So this will be fun.
Hope so.
I think Erin's nervous. All right. So what are we talking about today, Erin?
Well, we have some questions from people. Just go for it. Just start asking.
Yeah, that's the beauty of rapid fire is we
All
try
right.
to hammer some things in here and then we just kind of go with it.
All right, sweet. Well, first question. What are some things I can start doing right now to lose fat?
Wow. So, obviously when we're talking about fat loss, calories in, calories out matters a little bit, so just the easiest and quickest form of any of that question is going to be eat a little less, move a little more.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not going to be, some super secretive, like crazy, answer to that question. Reducing stress, sleeping more,
Definitely
eating, more healthy, generally, more wide ranging variety of nutrient dense foods, trying to make sure you're getting enough water. Those kinds of things are going to be your go-tos.
Yeah, I had written 4 things down for this one, and you hit most of them. I said, obviously, drink a ton of water, move every day, and I actually wrote down preferably first thing in the morning, and I wrote that down just because I think that we can get really busy and kind of talk ourselves out of it through the day. And this is really, really basic movement. So I'm thinking like just a quick little walk or whatever it is. Since it's winter right now, a lot of people doing the January challenge right now are doing like free YouTube videos, which I think are really
nice.
It's fine because it's just like moving around your living room. And I think that's totally, totally fine. And then I said sleep more. I kind of wanted to talk about like how to get better sleep. Do you do like a sleep routine? I know your sleep is kind of weird.
Right. My sleep is definitely kind of weird. So in general, like I think it is really important for people to have a sleep routine. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of good research to the find of like having you have a wake up alarm, mm-hmm. having a sleep alarm, knowing that okay, per whatever I got to do tomorrow, I got to be asleep by this time to get up when I want to get up. So therefore, I'm going to set an alarm for my sleep routine to quote just start. Mm-hmm. And so lift it now if you want to.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good. Try to make mic adjustments on the fly. And so generally, so I get off usually sometime 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, and usually by the time I'm, get undressed, get the dog fed, get him taken out, I try to eat something pretty light, just something so I'm not going to sleep hungry. Mm-hmm. I'll usually take that time and I will do my best to put my phone somewhere where it's out of my way or it's out of sight, out of mind. Set my alarm to wake up to if I need to get up by a certain time. I usually, most days, will take a ZMA, so a zinc magnesium blend that usually will help me kind of start moving that direction, winding down. If I'm just really, really tired, I will just lay down and go to sleep.
Yeah.
On the days that I'm a little more...
You don't need a sleep routine if you're really, really tired.
Right.
Yeah.
On the days that I'm a little more amped up or a little more just unable to go to sleep, I will try to get, just sit on my bed and just try to take deep breaths, try to get relaxed, go through some kind of movement flow sometimes if I want to, stretch out spots that are sore or a little banged up from, either the night or work or whatever's going on. Once I get through all of that, if I'm still kind of restless, I'll usually just find a book, start reading. Yeah. Try to find something that's a little more relaxing. Try not to read like a super action novel that I get super into and want to finish all of. So try to pick something a little more boring. Yeah. Even if it is, super training or something.
Yeah. So. Yeah. We, so like when it starts getting dark, we do like blue light blocking glasses and we like dim the lights. So like we, in the house we're in now, we don't have a dimmer, but we can like turn off some lights. So it's just like super chill. And, we do we have salt lamps everywhere. I'm like a salt lamp fanatic. And then I do natural calm before bed. So like,
Okay.
yeah, with like hot water. And if you haven't had it, it's delicious if you get like the flavored one. But if you get like the normal one and think you're going to mix it in tea, it tastes so terrible. So, but magnesium kind of helps you calm down anyways, kind of puts you in that rest digest state, which is, it's really great for people who have like anxiety and stuff. So I noticed a huge difference, and if my kids are real riled up, I give it to them too. They love it. But and then I do the same thing in bed. I read to fall asleep if I'm, you know, not very tired yet.
Right.
Sometimes, I mean, most days I'm really tired.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. You got 3 tiny humans to chase around.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people have issues with sleep. But we live in this society where, you know, you watch TV until you go to sleep. Eyes were designed to look at things with light, not at light. So if you think about how that has changed, you know, we're staring at screens this late at night, and even with blue light blocking glasses on, it's still stimulating your brain in a different way.
For sure.
So it's really hard to turn it off.
I mean, to continue on that point, like I used to sleep. I used to watch stuff when I was trying to go to sleep, and then I like migrated to like podcasts or music. Until now it's at a point where like I still need to have like some white noise, because like, especially now with you know, with traffic and everything, like my dog gets even more riled up, and so I'll put my fan on, just running, just so that it's facing away from me usually, just so that I've got some kind of just white noise going on, so it kind of helps create a buffer between just traffic noise and people being out and about, construction, and those things really help. Another thing that I've found is just trying to just take everything for the day and just stop trying to think about it, you know, and in it, however you've got to do that. There's some good apps out there that are like meditation apps that kind of guide you through that process, that I think people can find helpful if they do find themselves at the end of the day, you know, not being able to kind of shut their minds off. Some of those meditation apps help a lot.
I keep a notepad by my bed too. So like if I'm having a lot of thoughts, I just write it down, because I'm usually having the thoughts because I'm scared I'll forget the next day, you know. But if I just write them down, I'm like, oh, they're right there, you know, the next day. So
and you can just get them out of your head and you don't have to think about it again.
Yeah, exactly.
So
so the other thing I had on, we're still on the question, what are some things I can start doing right now to lose fat? Protein's huge. And a little anecdote story. So one of the clients she was doing Evan's nutrition program right now, and she was trying to get 150 grams of protein in a day. And she was just talking about how terrible it was and how terrible she felt and everything. And I was like, man, I wonder how much protein I get in, because it's been a while since I've really sat down and tracked that. So that was like last Monday. So then I started tracking like my protein for like 5 days, I guess. And I got over 150 every day, and I was really shooting for like 190, which is like pretty high. But I actually lost like 3 pounds. And I'm not saying like I lost like 3, you know, a pound is 3,500 calories. I'm not saying I was on like a 3,500 calorie times 3 deficit. In 5 days, but I think I just lost some like bloat and water weight that I just carry around because I'm like snacking on dates and stuff. Right. When I should be snacking on like chicken or something. So I don't know. That's something that I saw really great results with, but also protein. It's proven that, you know, it suppresses the need to like snack all the time, or the hunger. It's more satiating, especially if you're eating like protein with the animal fat. So an example of that would be like a bone in, skin on chicken thigh versus like a boneless, skinless chicken breast, which of course you need sauce or condiments like we talked about last week with that. And then eating protein first on your plate, I think also helps us, you know, not overeat the other things.
Definitely. I agree with that. So mine's I'm going to have an off the topic question, just because I think they're fun. What's your favorite kind of music? Either to train to, and then to like relax, hang out, chill to.
Oh, you know, I'm an Enneagram 7, so I like everything. I like everything, but definitely to train to, it has to be upbeat. Right. Mostly always upbeat music. I mean, unless it's just like a phenomenal song, then I'll like be slow and really get into it, but no.
Always a beat.
Yeah, I don't know. Like right now I'm on like a more of a pop kick. I know. In the summer I get more like a country kick.
I can see that. Yeah, well, yeah, because you got like it's you got hay fields in summertime.
Yeah,
and
the
right,
windows
yeah.
are down in the
Right.
car. It just feels really good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah. What about you?
When I'm training, it's got to be rock, metal, somewhere in that genre.
Yeah. Whenever I turn on the music at the gym, like Jared was here last.
Right. Yeah. If it's on Machine Head Radio, it's like, oh well, yeah, Jared was here. Something along those.
5-fingered death punch.
Yeah, something in that realm, the Metallica world. If I'm trying to chill out, like it will something more along like country. I do, oddly enough, like I like jazz, like like Chicago, to kind of hang out and just if I'm trying to relax or chill too, especially if I'm trying to program. If I'm programming anything without words, usually like I'll put like Lindsey Sterling radio on if I'm trying to program because it's it's pretty decent stuff and it doesn't distract me. While I'm trying to get work
I used
done.
to be a music all the time person, like no silence ever, please. And now I'm like, I really like the silence, really like a quiet shower or like a quiet car ride. Yeah,
I could see that.
Never used to be like that.
I could see that, and I'm imagining that probably has something to do with having 3 kids.
Oh yeah, they talk to me constantly, and I just want silence.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
please be quiet now.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly. 90s are my favorite. Now that you like mentioned some people, I'm like any kind of 90s music in the gym is like my favorite.
I get back to like 90s rock sometimes and it's just like you just get into some of that. It's like, oh yeah, everybody loves to hate on Nickelback, but you still know all the words.
I actually love Nickelback. It's like a guilty pleasure. Okay. Okay, let's see. How do we get rid of batwings? This is one of the questions we got through email or through Instagram or something.
It's been through email, and I'm sure you've been asked it a million times.
Oh gosh,
in person.
yeah.
I'm going to let you
bra fat,
lead the way
stuff.
on that one.
So it's not just like working your triceps like crazy. Sorry. People love when they can like feel an exercise working. So when you come to me and you're like, I want to get rid of my bat wings, or I want to get rid of this or whatever, I give you exercises that'll make that sore because I want you to feel like you're doing something the next day when you're sore. But the answer to the question is just get leaner. I mean, I know it's not the fun answer, but obviously whatever muscle group it is, like working that muscle group is going to make that like a bigger muscle and make it take up more space in your skin. But obviously getting rid of fat is going to make that muscle come out more.
Right. Exactly.
And that's kind of what they're asking for,
yeah,
right?
For sure. And it's a combo of the two. It's one of those things that like if you can't spot train away fat. That's not how our bodies work.
Your muscle's not so hot, it's like burning it off.
Right, exactly. You can't go to GNC and buy that sweet sweat, stuff and rub it on there and you just burn it, quote unquote, burns that one area away. So having an exercise program that will help lose fat across the board is obviously going to be your best option. And then at the same time, you can build some muscle in those areas, like you said, and that'll help kind of tighten up that area a little bit. So and the thing that's kind of funny is it's like when people want to talk about like, oh, I want to tone up. It's like what helps tone up is often not what they think it is, or not, like it's often
not in the gym.
Right, that too. But there's so much misconception of, well, I need to do a super lightweight for 1.5 million reps, and it's like
that's such a myth.
No, you got to get like heavy.
Back in the aerobic days, that's where that came from. If your mom tells you that,
with the pink like 4-pound dumbbells and your step aerobics, throw it above your head, like no, that's not how it gets done. If it's
not uncomfortable, it's not doing anything for you.
100%.
And that goes for like literally everything in life. I mean, that's when I feel uncomfortable. When I feel uncomfortable about being cold. That's like we've talked about this before, but it's just making me better, and that's what I tell myself. Like this is just, you guys talked about focus words without me, and that was one of them. I thought of. I'm like, I say that to myself all the time. Like this is just making me better.
Since we talked about it, do you do self-talk or focus words or anything of that?
Yeah.
In that area?
So kind of what I do, and this is kind of different than what both of you guys said, but things people have said to me or that I've heard them say in like a speech or I don't know, like a class or as a coach has said to me or something like that, I can like remember that, like what they said and how that made me feel. And I can just go back to that time and I'll just like replay that in my head when I'm like needing to get through something or whatever it is. It's less about like, I don't have like little notes all over my house like you do. I think it's really funny, but yeah, I can play those scenarios. So really influential people have said things to me and I remember that. Like, I don't want to call out Coach Urban, but he said something to me in the weight room when I was in high school. And I like go back to that time, like all the time and how good that made me feel. And I like try to just bring those emotions back up. And I have a coach in, one of the football coaches in college said the same thing, or not the same thing, but it's the same scenario type thing. So
yeah, something
I don't know.
similar.
Those are just like two little examples, but
that's awesome.
So words, quotes, whatever.
Yeah, and I'm sure that goes the same with like negative things. People, try to use that as some like, not really try to like stick it to them because it's like, oh, you said this thing about me and I'm going to prove you wrong. Like, those are pretty powerful as well.
Yeah, for sure. I've had a former employer say something about who I am, like overgeneralizing, and I think of that all the time. Like I am going to I will not give in to that. That's awesome. So
I remember there was one time, and it's on a video, and I think you were the one recording it, and I was unracking a squat, and that same individual was standing behind you, and in the video you can hear him kind of like whisper to you, he's not going to hit this. And
you heard it, and it just
I
fired you up.
I know I didn't hear it when I was
really?
going that day. I heard it when I was watching it later, reviewing how my form looked, and so like, and then if you watch the video, like I hit the squat and it was a grinder, but it was clean, and I hit the rep and I get it back up, and it was my, at the time, my highest max. And every time I get under a weight and it feels heavy underneath me, that little phrase of him saying that, like just will come back in my mind, and it's like, come hell or high water, this weight's coming up. Like it may not look good, but I'm standing up with this. Yeah,
that's really important. Do you feel like you are more motivated by someone saying something positive about you or someone critiquing you?
Definitely. See, and Ev and I talked about this. We don't have much use for positive encouragement. And I don't know if that's because like him from the Marines world and me from football and MMA, like there wasn't a lot of like, you're doing a great job, man. It was always nitpicking your flaws.
Right.
And being a one, on the Enneagram side of things, like I definitely identify with that inner critic of just continually finding things to improve upon. And so I definitely would say that I'm more motivated by a negative, statement about myself. And so like if I'm, whether it's somebody I work for or work with, I want to know what am I doing wrong so that I can fix those things and be motivated to change it rather than like always being told what I'm doing right.
Yeah.
So what about you?
I'm the opposite. You knew that. I'm like, if you tell me I'm doing an amazing job, I will do a better job because it just makes me feel good about myself. But if it's different. So like if it's like constructive criticism and you're really trying to help me like do something better, I love that. Like I'll take that to heart for sure. But if it's just like, I don't know, I coaching again, I think about like coaches in the past, like you suck. Like, man, I suck. And it's just like plays over in my head like, well, messed up again, guess I suck, so it's a fine line, but yeah, I'm definitely more of a positive encourager. I think about that too with parenting such different kids too. Scarlett like is so good with that. If you tell her like you are being such a helpful person, she'll like, what can I do to help? Like that's like her next thing to say. But Riker, if I'm like, I have to just yell at him, kind of scare him a little bit, and then he'll do it right. Right. So just different. But
that sounds like a pretty good encapsulation of boys versus girls.
Yeah,
for sure.
Speak to him like a dog. I like stomp my foot and clap my hand. Like, you listen to me, kid.
Oh, that's awesome. To that point, like I think that's important for us as coaches to be aware of because like every client is going to be different. Like some clients respond really well to knowing, hey, these are these 4 little things you need to work on your squat, and they don't need a compliment sandwich, or they don't need to have Compliment sandwiches are awesome. Like for those that don't know, you say something nice, you put a little piece of criticism in between, and then you finish with something nice.
That was like a rule in my sorority.
Yeah. And that was like coaching 101 for us was always like, tell them something they're doing well, give them a little bit of criticism, and then finish them off with a positive note. You know, that way they kind of bring all the pieces together. And in general, that works. And there are some people that I would have to stop them before they hit a true technique failure max, because it would mentally wreck them for the rest of the workout. Yeah. And I just know, okay, I've got to stop you at 95% because you can't go to 101. You can't go to 110. Right. You won't make it.
Yeah. I think a lot of people fall into that boat. Okay. Another question. What are some good fats to add into your diet? So I think we talk a lot about fats. So I think this person is just asking, like, what are the good fats? What are the bad fats? And I think that is a really great question that some people just don't get unless they're just told. You want me to say?
Lead off. I'll let you lead this one.
All right. Well, let's see what a good rule of thumb is to overgeneralize this. So you've heard us talk about like seed oils and stuff and how to stay away from those. But like, what is a seed oil? They're labeled pretty crappy at the grocery store because they're
try to hide
manipulating you. Right. Yeah. So like, do you hear my belly growling? Wow, that was really loud.
I really hope the mic picked that up.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We were talking about food. So vegetable oils, they call it vegetable oil, but it comes from corn, which is a grain. That is not a vegetable. And I know, sorry, you think you're well rounding your plate with a can of corn on your plate. You're not. That's a grain. And canola oil. Canola is a seed. Cottonseed, that's another one that they like. Yeah, so all of these seeds, so seed oils, they are very damaged in the process of extracting oil out of them. So they're under high heat. I don't understand like free radicals and all that, but I've heard it. It's very like 7th grade science is what I'm thinking of, like ions shooting off. But that's what's happening. Right. They are being very damaged so that they will bind to other things in your body. And does that make sense? Right. Do you understand Definitely. That in a more 100%. Better way than what I'm explaining it? Okay. Yeah. So basically you want to stay away from those. They're not doing your body any good. And what they're doing is they're causing inflammation in your body. And inflammation is like, you know, that's just the root of all issues really in the body is some sort of inflammation. In society that we live in where, you know, you're eating out all the time, vegetable oils are super cheap in comparison to other things. So if you're eating at a restaurant and you're not paying, you know, $100 for your meal, you're probably eating vegetable oils. And those are really high in omega-6s. Omega-6s. So we need to, basically, omega-6s are fine. You just need a good balance of omega-6 to omega-3s.
Right, which is why generally we have to take fish oil with omega-3 fatty acids in them, because we, as a nation, generally consume a high amount of omega-6s. Right,
and not a lot of omega-3s, and they're not as easy to find as omega-6s. Yeah. So fish oil is a good example of a good fat. So that means fish is any kind of fish product. And then any kind of fat that comes from an animal or I don't want to say a plant because that obviously is like corn and stuff, but like olive oil. Olive oil can be cold pressed is also a word you can look for on labels. So that's not that high heat extraction.
Extractation. I like that.
I love to add extra syllables to words.
Awesome.
Love it. Anyways, yeah. So cold press is a word you can look for. That's on like olive oil or coconut oil, anything like that. Mm-hmm. Those are all really, really good fats. And then anything that comes from an animal. So anytime you eat meat from an animal, like I said, it normally comes with an amount of fat. Some cuts of meat are a little bit higher in fat. So like chicken thighs versus chicken breasts, or ribeyes versus New York strips or anything like that. So you're going to have a little bit higher fat content in some things, and that's not bad at all. If you're trying to follow like a macro plan, that's where you would take that into account.
On the meat really quick. Yeah. One thing to be aware of is that a lot of times when a lot of like toxins and things are going to be fat soluble.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's one of the reasons why you want to try to get, as close to free-ranged, grass-fed,
organic, whatever,
organic meat as you can, because whatever junk is in that in the food that they're fed and how they're raised is going to be stored in their fat much
Yes.
more. And so then you're consuming that fat, and
Yes.
then those toxins are going to be released when when it digests. And so
Right.
it makes it, then that's not to scare anybody. It is what it is. And so those are reasons why, okay, we want to try to make sure we do get as clean as of a protein source as we can.
I've never fact checked this, but have you ever heard how it's like worse in pigs because they don't sweat out toxins? So then it really is like built up in their like fat storage. So like bacon and stuff is like super important to get.
I've heard that like that's also comes into play just because of like they'll eat anything. And so they're like they can be fed all kinds of weird
like
things.
serial killers own pigs.
Right. Yeah. Right. No. Yeah. I in terms of healthy fats as well, like I really like nuts. You know,
Yeah,
like that's
I forgot about nuts.
That's one that that's what I like. I like trail mix. You know, I'm actually got some sitting on my.
I think also you brought up a good point where people think of nuts and nut butters and peanut butter and stuff like that as a protein source.
Right.
Much higher in fat content.
100%.
Like get it in your brain that's like a fat source.
Right. Yeah, and I like adding that in, you know, to you know, if I'm doing like apple and peanut butter, I can get healthy fats in that way. No, that's not my only source of fat.
Yeah.
But looking at it, like you said, more as a fat rather than like, oh, I'm eating protein or I'm eating peanut butter for my protein content.
Right.
Like that shouldn't be where you're getting your protein from.
Yeah. I think like any kind of dairy product is probably like that too. I mean,
for sure.
There's definitely protein in cheese, but don't think of it as like your protein. Grilled cheese, not a full and complete meal. I mean, I love it.
Oh man. I went to try. I found that like if I eat a lot of dairy or do a lot of yogurt and stuff, like I get stuffed up so quick.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No,
interesting. Are you B blood type?
A positive.
Okay, that's fine.
So, no, I've 100% like almost not intentionally, but I just like I never felt that I needed to drink milk. And during college, like I just stopped drinking milk.
Mm-hmm.
And then what kind of realized when like I don't really miss it. And same thing with like a lot of bread, like bread, pasta, that kind of stuff, and milk just kind of phased them out of my diet kind of instinctually, I guess, just because I was paying more attention to how I felt and what I was eating. And those things never bothered me again, and I never missed them.
Yeah.
So it's okay. Like I have all occasionally.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not a mainstay of my diet like it used to be.
It's like such a Midwestern thing. I didn't realize this, but people who like live, you know, in California, they're like Midwesterners drink like milk with their dinner. I think that's hilarious because that's how I was like raised.
Oh yeah.
I don't anymore, but yeah, I was like it's a norm to just drink
Definitely.
milk.
Yeah, like there are the amount of people that like drink several gallons of like a gallon or more a week, and it's like how?
It's crazy.
I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me anymore. But I mean, it's kind of what you get used to, I guess.
It is, yeah, for sure. But I mean, when I was a kid, I was forced to drink like skim milk.
Oh,
it actually is terrible.
It's just water pretending to be milk.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I do like milk in my coffee though. That's
right. Yeah, that's not bad.
Not bad.
Let's see, where are we at? 28, about 20, 29 minutes.
Do you want to do one little question?
You got something quick? We can try to make a fast answer.
Yeah, we can do this really quick. Do you have any real quick rules for yourself while you're eating? Because I do.
Rules for myself while I'm eating. Go ahead and give yours. I'll think about mine real fast.
So I like to tell people when they're trying to be more mindful when they're eating. That's what I'm thinking
definitely.
of. So sit down. Don't watch TV or don't scroll through your phone with a fork in your other hand. I try to make my food instead of just like grabbing something. I try to like make like a plate of something or like cook it or like whatever it is. That also keeps you from eating like processed food.
Right.
I portion it out. I know myself well enough that I will not sit down with a bag of chips. There's no way, Jose, I will eat them all, and I will feel terrible by myself. So I always put them in like a bowl. I'm right now currently trying to snack on protein stuff because it doesn't sound as good. So like when I want a snack and I'm like, if I'm really hungry, then this would sound okay. And sometimes it does. And sometimes I'm just like, eh. Also when I am feeling snacky and it's not mealtime, I'll just chug a big thing of water. Cause normally that will either fill me up a little bit so I don't snack as much, or it will suppress my hunger. Because sometimes I'm just thirsty and you kind of forget it and it feels like hunger, but it's not. It's really just thirst.
Sometimes it's boredom. Like I run into that. I'll run into that for sure. Like I'll run into like, oh, I'm not actually hungry. I'm bored. So to that same, the idea of being mindful, ensuring that I, don't have my phone with me. I'm not mindlessly just playing on my phone, because I'll just eat mindlessly. I think being cognizant of, like, okay, like, this is what's on my plate. I'm enjoying what I'm eating. As much as I love to give, like Katie, and give others a hard time about anything that has to do with being, like, French people in general, it's just fun. I took French in high school, and it was a lot of fun to give my French teacher a hard time about a myriad of things. But one of the things that they do that
the French paradox
I find to be very helpful is the idea of, when they eat a meal, that's all they're doing.
Yeah.
They focus they don't read a paper. They don't, like, you are eating, you eat your meal, you enjoy it, you try to taste everything.
I think that's fantastic.
Because it really does. It makes you mindful of what you're doing. You're not getting outside of what's going on, and it allows you to think about everything that you're doing and truly enjoy the meal and enjoy the event that is that little time that you just have to just be quiet, eat your meal, and then go about your day. So I think those are really good little tips. So, well, Erin, you made it through your first rapid fire.
I liked it.
All right. So, guys, like always, like, rate, subscribe. Let us know what you guys think. Send your emails, partycast@gmail.com. Send us DMs, Facebook, Instagram.
Ask us questions for real. We have some material.
We like answering your guys' questions. Anything you guys want to know, health related, gym related, outside the gym, anything you guys want to know, we're always here to answer and kind of play around with. So, all right, we'll see you guys next week.
All right.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of PartyCast. Check us out on your favorite podcasting site. And remember, each episode is also available on YouTube. Thank you for joining us on this adventure, and we will see you next time.